Thank you, everybody, for attending here at the Wyoming Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee meeting today, Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. Number one on our agenda here today, the meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page using the following link www.youtube.com/town of Plympton-Wyoming/streams. Applicants, proponents, and delegates must make a request to Ella Flynn, E. Flynn at Plympton-Wyoming.ca to receive instructions on how to attend a meeting virtually as a participant. Attendees will not be permitted into the meeting using any name but their given name and will only be permitted as an attendee for the agenda item that pertains to them. Attendees will be dismissed following the hearing of their item, but can view the remainder of the meeting on the YouTube channel. Second item here on our agenda today, if anybody has a pecuniary interest or conflict of interest in any way, you declare it now or anytime through the meeting as you see fit. Number three, we don't have any delegations today. And number four. What the minutes of the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee meeting be received and approved for adoption. And that's the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee, May the 11th meeting minutes. And the tour, the Wyoming Public Cemetery Inactive Cemetery Tours Committee, May the 25th, 2023 minutes. And that, accept those minutes, that was moved by Adrian Verwegen, seconded by John Van Clavern. Has anybody had an opportunity to look at those minutes? And if you have, is there any corrections, changes? Anything that should be on there or should not be on there? No comments, okay. Moving on to number 5 then, is there any business arising from the previous minutes? Any items on, a chance to read them? If not, just take a minute now and just go over them and see if there's anything on there we want to talk about. Always what's interesting in your past minutes is it's good to look them over before the next meeting, because a lot of the items that we're dealing with are on the past minutes. They won't be on the new agenda necessarily. So you might have some questions on them.
Letter, excuse me, was a letter sent to John Knox, thanking the children for.
Letter was sent. Good, that's a good idea. Yeah, they do a good job.
Good one. You okay now?
I think they did a great job. Yeah, everything was brought out to the edge of the road. I mean, it was pretty easy for the town to pick up, and it was right at the right time too, because I think we had the decoration day following up very close behind that, and it helped us out quite a bit.
Okay.
Good to me, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody want to comment at all on number 5 there on the in the decoration day? Anything? Public Cemetery Decoration Day recap.
You know, I'd make this comment on that, that the dignitary attendance was almost equal to the public. I would say that was to continue into the future. At what point in time we would say, maybe we shouldn't be doing this anymore. Now, that day was a bad day weather-wise, and that maybe had a bearing on things, but you know, it's just something that I thought about when I was there, that, you know, the number of dignitary type people were equal to the number of public. Thing, and we spent how much money to do that? That day, roughly
$350.
$350, yeah.
350.
Anyway, just a thought. And it was a bad day. The weather was not good. That was only the second time that I remember that we had to have it at the Legion in 16, 18 years, I think.
Kind of nice in there. It started to rain right when we were going to start.
Yep.
Just before you landed here, we were chatting a bit about it. I think it'd be quite easy and obtainable for each one of us here to invite X number of people, to get 2 people there. Kicking and screaming if you have to. And, you know, I think that's pretty realistic. And maybe that we could set a little goal to do that next year. Cause it was, I thought it was a lovely time.
Lovely service. Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, it always is.
Yeah.
I agree. It always is. And especially if it's out in the cemetery on a sunny day. It's a very nice thing, yeah.
I have a question.
Sorry.
Go. I have a question. Why is the Catholic Decoration Day different than ours?
Do they have it?
Yes,
They
the
do?
date is covered up and it's covered over with July. I think it's coming up this weekend, July something. They're like it's posted. Whoops, it's posted. But why is it different than ours? Why couldn't we not all have it the same day? You know, that would bring in more people. And I just don't know the reason.
Is that an old tradition, maybe?
I don't know the answer to it neither, but Catholics versus, like, why don't we have the same cemetery? You know, like, but
Reasons for that, so.
I don't know. Is it? Yeah.
It's want to be separate, so
Yeah.
they want to be separate, I think. 'Cause they-
Yo.
Like even a decoration service, I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way. I just think when we go to all this work, everybody should be able to come together.
And maybe it's time, maybe we're there where that could be proposed to them.
Yeah,
And
because if they're spending,
specifically looks after that, do you have any idea?
yeah, I don't
I
know.
think Matthew Jeniskins is in charge of the cemetery.
Is he? Oh, that's true. I okay. I think you're right. Yeah.
Used to be Jerry Foisey, used to be.
Okay, okay.
I just don't know the answer to that, but
I think it's something that maybe we should question, like, why don't you join in on ours, like, instead of spending another $350 on your service, we've.
I'd volunteer Albert and myself to go and visit him. Is that appropriate?
once again, I don't know, I personally don't know the answer to it. You know, even, you know, this is one of my first years of really leading it. But I had to go back and look at a bunch of history of what it's all about. The original definition of what Decoration Day was, and that goes back to 1878 or whatever it is, and it was intended for us to honor your work, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it intended to be, but and then over the years that particular day, Decoration Day, like that was an official holiday, one of the first official holidays in Canada. Then as the years went by, it obviously got changed to Armistice Day or November the 11th, Remembrance Day. And that's when your holiday is now. So then some cemeteries, my understanding, and Ella and I, Ella got some of the history and I looked up some of it. So now we celebrate the holiday on Remembrance Day or Armistice Day. But then certain areas like us continue to keep having a Decoration Day. And when the question came up here, John, just we talked about there about canceling it, or is it worth keeping going? A lot of places have canceled Decoration Day for the same reason. Not enough people there that even a handful of people. As a matter of fact, it was in the paper just before we had ours. I forget the area north of London or something, canceled their Decoration Day. There was nobody there. So it got canceled because a lot of people, my understanding, what I read is that they celebrate Remembrance Day. That's your new decoration. So it's a touchy situation because it might have only been 6 or 7 or 8 people there, but they take that very seriously,
You bet.
especially if they've got
You bet.
ancestors in there that, you know, died in wars and stuff like that. So why Catholics and Protestant or
Yeah, because their sign on their way into their cemetery says the second Sunday in June. And then that's blocked off with a piece of paper that says July. I want to say this weekend. I'm like, well, did we originally always do it? And then they decided to do their own. I don't know.
Another thought too, I mean, we could potentially attend theirs,
Yeah,
just to see what, you know, what that kind of looks like, and then connect with them after or something. I don't know.
It's up to the committee, because like I say, I apologize, I just don't have enough knowledge of Catholic cemetery versus cemetery. We can comment, so. I don't know, what's the committee think? Is it worth looking into or just carry on the way we are?
Would you be okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah, who?
I know it's-
Make a day of it.
Get Matt to take us out for lunch.
Of course.
I know Matt real well.
Okay,
So what's the committee think, that's okay, or?
I think it's a good idea.
And then
Then we'll have our answer.
yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that very much, Pam.
do we need a motion, Ella, to do that, or just give direction?
I wouldn't think so if it's just for gathering information, then
Yep.
go back and report on it, and then we can make a decision. after the meeting.
Are you okay to set that up, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, fun. Okay. Who else should we go see?
I don't know.
Pack that place out
That was
next year.
meeting yesterday.
Okay.
Why don't you get a free lunch, you guys? Okay. Okay, moving on. Anything else in those minutes that you want to discuss? That sparked a good discussion.
What else you got, Pam?
What's going on?
Right now, we're just on number 5 there, yeah, 4.1. Yeah, we're on 5. Their business arising in the previous minutes. Okay, so 5.1. Tour. Wyoming Public Cemetery Inactive Tour, recap and follow-up items. That's a good one. That should be in your minutes. Listing, I believe. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that day.
I did too.
It was very educational. I think it was worthwhile for me.
Same.
A lot of cemeteries I didn't even know existed. See.
It takes a few hours too.
Yeah.
So do you want to just go over the recap here? I personally drove through just before I come here over here to public cemetery and see things are being done and I think improved. So you want to just go through this and starting there maybe with 3785 Queen Street there to Bethel. See what's been done there, what's not.
We haven't done anything along the fence yet. No.
Okay, so nothing been done there yet, so we can leave that one. 3604 Churchill, that's the Brooks Cemetery.
There's been minor trimming done in there, but we haven't completed it.
Okay. Okay, we'll just leave that one. Downledge. Douglas Line Cemetery, difficult to access.
We were talking about putting some stairs or something in there to access the cemetery. That's gone no further.
Okay.
A comment on that one.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, is that something that you would want to maybe budget for in next year's budget? That's a little more than general maintenance, et cetera, so it may be something that Al can provide you a quote with at a coming meeting, and then that way you can have an idea what that would cost you and if whether or not you want to budget for that for next year.
I think that'd be a great idea. Tell you why, Adam, is that we had a staff member and down that grass and down into the ditch, flop, and boom, was actually off work for a couple of 3 days here. And you can see how quick it happened. I mean, there is another entrance to it. You're really supposed to go up to that laneway and walk along the top, but I mean, the weeds are that high, so they just go up. That was an injury, so it is an issue. So yes, let's budget for it. And
Would it be better then to maybe add some vegetation along there and clean up the vegetation along the laneway and force people to go through the laneway? So that'd be cheaper and easier to maintain in the long run.
that would be my thoughts. We'd have to get the grass cutter to make sure. I'm not sure of the property.
Well, I'm looking at the picture right here, right now, and the property for that particular thing. What's being used for the cemetery is likely, from what I'm looking at here, at less than 1/4 of the property that the town owns. For that, yeah, so that laneway
Yeah,
that you're talking about. Yeah, that property goes all the way to that laneway.
okay, so that's ours.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and before we spend money on a great big expensive step. I think we should look at other options available to us that'd be cheaper, and I think. Looking at exactly which property belongs to the town and which doesn't would be step one. I think the same with the lawnmower access, like. That goes up and down in there, but who does that? Who cuts that? John Perkins do that,
Or
or,
Kinsey?
No, Mr. Vanderholz here from,
Oh,
okay,
he does all our inactive cemeteries.
okay.
yeah, that's a small piece that's used as an actual cemetery compared to what belongs to the town.
Okay,
20% of it's used, and the other 80% is farmland. What I see here.
I think from what is there right now, it's gonna, unless we put something particular to block access off that straight up the hill, people are gonna continue to go there because it is the
Yeah.
most direct route to it.
Yep.
Opposed to whether we have to put a sign up to tell them this is the access point to the cemetery.
absolutely. I think that's the plan. That, to me, that makes more sense. And like Adam says, trying to build stairs and budget for stairs. If that's our property, all we gotta do is ask the fellow with the lawnmower, here's the way you're gonna access. You need to cut the grass into there and we'll plant trees or whatever on that steep hill and
Got some gravel. It seems to me there wasn't much gravel there.
might be muddy.
I remember walking up and thinking I wouldn't know it was a road unless I was actually here.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be better.
Well, why don't,
Clean.
Al and I here in the next, before winter hits, we'll take a look at that and see if it, how muddy it is. I mean, it's not like we have to have a super duper highway, but at least
No,
enough to
no.
walk.
Something that you can see. Oh, there's the driveway up.
So good idea, just to put a sign up there, say cemetery entrance.
Yeah.
So people know that's where you gotta go.
Sure.
The actual cemetery is a half an acre with 264 feet of frontage.
Oh,
264 feet of frontage.
yeah.
That's a lot of chunk of ground there. There's a picture.
Okay, so where?
The driveway would be back this way.
Yeah,
This is the actual cemetery
right,
part,
right.
and the rest of it is farmed, and that's there.
But we had walked up here.
Yeah,
Up the hill.
sure.
That's what everybody does. And if the least bit slippery down, you go.
You know, the only people that go there, I doubt like heck if anybody goes to visit the grave, right? So the only people that go there are the people who cut the grass
Yeah,
and us once a year.
Yeah.
here.
And that's about it, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, it would not be visited often.
So that the lawnmower's gonna get in there anyway. So nobody can put the mower down.
This is
So
where
he cut off,
Yeah.
I think
he
everybody.
cut off, comes in off the east side of it, right?
I think so,
He
yeah.
comes up the hill off the east side, and goes in
Yeah.
and cuts.
We'll look at that and see. Yeah.
And bring it up on the screen if you can.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 minutes, please, and thank you.
Good idea.
This GIS. They're good.
That's the wrong one. It's-
Yeah.
Well, that one's actually quite steep too. 4935 Douglas, correct?
Yep. Yep, 4935, yep.
Go down the corner, just about the corner of Hillsborough Road.
My numbering not correct. We got the right address.
Right,
935 is what it says here on Douglas, yeah.
Yeah,
Just before Hillsborough Road on the
right
south
there,
side.
you can see it.
right there where your cursor is.
Where your cursor is, yeah, isn't that it?
I think something's funny with the
Right
address.
there, yeah, it is, yeah, that's it.
It comes up as 5819.
Oh, did it?
That's the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
That has a steep hill here.
I bet you that's the, that's the farmland around it.
Because this is the hill that everyone was talking about sliding down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's the other one.
the driveway's on the other side.
No, that's the one with the cabin there.
This
That's
is,
one over by Utah or Brush
This is
Road.
Buchanan on the screen right now.
yeah, we're talking about.
you're 21 there.
Yeah, that's not the right.
That's on Douglas line.
Yeah, well, that one. Yeah, where the cabin is back there, where they got this.
No, that's the other
We're
one.
dealing with one down by Hillsborough.
Yeah, the other one is,
Your addressing is, oh, I'm out to crack. Never mind. I'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, no, right.
Like I say, I was catching up in 4 and 5. Apologies.
You want it right there.
Just take it out of your. Hey,
There, got him. Oh, back up. That little property just to the right. A little
Where's
further.
the other one? Yeah.
Right there, that little.
yeah, this
Yep,
one
that's
right
it.
here, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that to be it.
So there's 264 across the front, according to this.
That's it there. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put the right address into here. Apologies.
But like I say, since it was a safety incident, we probably should have addressed it long before now, but. It could happen to any of us going, trying to get down the hill. Yeah, we all went up the hill.
I went around the east side, came in the east side there.
Yeah, we did. We came in over here.
Sure, we didn't.
Well, you came in over there.
Over here.
We all came up.
The driveway is here.
Yeah,
Right, right on.
So we walked around this way.
Right.
It looked like more of a driveway.
There's that view with the property lines, right?
But it
Yes,
was-
that's
it
right.
Was cut there.
where's your
Let's
left,
say
prop-
4935.
At the cemetery, yeah.
where's your left property line there? Oh, way over
Look
there.
at that. See
So
the
that's
size of
in
that?
another one of those properties where we may own significantly more.
Yeah,
than What we're using and the farmer is utilizing.
so what we were talking about to the left. Right, yeah, right along the top line to the left of the cemetery. There's a laneway comes in there.
Yeah,
and
you can
walk-
see it there.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, here.
yes, that's what we were talking about. Now, are you saying there's another?
Yeah, John, I know John and I came.
Yeah,
over
Four guys
this
coming in
way.
there.
Yeah,
Like a little driveway.
that's where the
here.
lawnmower comes up too.
Yeah, he comes up there.
That's where you should be accessing is through where the lawnmower accesses then.
It looked more like a driveway to go up. I didn't
Yeah.
realize about this all.
It's not steep or grassy or?
No, it was kind of a.
Even where the lawnmower accesses.
Like I said, it needed gravel on it or something to make it look like it was an inviting area. Yeah.
Well, let it,
Maybe we have to have another look at it.
when Al and I get a chance, or
That'd be awesome.
whatever, we'll. Report back and see
I
what,
take it for lunch now.
whatever's the simplest way in and blocking
I'll
off.
pay for lunch.
That could be done. Now, can we get your credit card?
As long as it goes to the cemetery committee.
We got zero. We'll look at it, but if we do that, we'll block off that other spot so you can't slide down the hill and. If you don't block that, then
Yeah, they'll just keep climbing. There's a trail or
yeah,
an inviting trail there anyway.
Look at, see which is the safest.
yeah.
Aspiring mountaineers.
Okay, moving on, 3441 Queen Street, that's Christchurch Anglican Cemetery, Arrow. What do we have there? Very pleased with the arrangement of the stones and that we put in there in the last couple of years.
So cool.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
job.
that was really nice. Yeah.
And trimming pine tree branches on the west property line. I don't think that hadn't been done yet. 3294 Confederation Line, Mendom and Brennan Dunlop Cemetery in good shape. Nothing there at this time.
Scooty back.
856 Douglas Line. Cemetery in good condition, trim lilacs. Mention the fence that's out there, corner of Mr. Pete Kerrigan's property.
And we made arrangements with the road supervisor there, bringing his fence stretcher.
Oh, right, okay,
So we and put some proper bracing in the anchor posts.
yeah.
So that it won't lose nothing.
3229 London Line Cemetery in good overall condition. Plant 5 or 6 trees along the neighboring property's driveway, so that'll be. I know in the spring. And they're looking for places to plant trees that can be put on the list.
Which one is that, sorry?
That I think that's Brennan.
At Oban.
Oban, yeah, out there. We cut down a bunch of poplar trees along the laneway there about 3 years ago. They were getting pretty dirty and ratty looking. So
Yeah.
when we took them out, we said we'd plant a few in their place along the driveway.
Can be put on the list, that would be good. Yep. 5819 Douglas Line, Ridgemount, Buchanan Cemetery. Cemeteries in good condition, check boundaries with existing white markers. Yeah, I don't think that's just out there where we're talking about, they got them white cement. Markers that come up about that high, round tops. Nobody really knew what are they? Are they property lines? We didn't think so. Like the cemetery went beyond them, they're kind of up at the top of the hill, so I,
Can speak to that. I did some looking into that earlier today. Oh, I don't have the right one pulled up. Okay. So the Buchanan Cemetery is actually only 3/10 of an acre. But the GIS shows it being closer to like half an acre. So I drew out the points using the GIS map, and a couple of the white markers are approximately the property lines. Although it looks like this isn't the right cemetery I have pulled up here. But it looks on GIS like we own more than we actually do.
okay, so what are you saying about them markers? They're
They're
not
not
accurate.
perfect, but they're closer to what the property lines actually are based off of it being 3/10 of an acre, not half an acre.
Yeah, it didn't seem to make much difference, because if I'm not mistaken, they're up in the hill anyways, and goes down beyond them, so not usable. Okay. No, but they've been there for a lot longer than anybody in this room, been around. You can't do much about it. Okay, 5723 South Plympton. This one here. Oh, sorry, I missed one. 4843 Confederation Line, Robertson Cemetery. Good condition, trim low hanging branches on trees. As time goes on. 5723 South Plympton Road Cemetery in good overall. Oh yeah, contact property owner to the north regarding a brush pile. Purchase approximately 12 trees through the St. Clair Conservation Authority. Plant along the south property line. So there's some more trees.
Do we know exactly where the property line is?
Adam,
Well, that was gonna be my comments, sir. We talked about this one about a year ago with the previous committee's chair and the previous tree planting committee chair. And what we decided was that without knowing the physical property lines, given the challenging nature of the farmer in the area, that it would be not appropriate to plant the trees. Otherwise, they could become damaged and we may actually not plant them on our lands. So I would not recommend planting trees there unless we wanted to verify our property line a bit better. And I think the committee earlier in the year decided that the cost of verifying the property line was not worth the being able to plant the trees.
so that's a good point. So I would suggest to the committee is that let's remove that comment. It's already been dealt with, and the survey fees were going to be enormous and challenging, probably in court, who knows? So I would suggest up to the committee, let's remove that comment about purchasing, planting trees, not what.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Oh, the brush pile, but they've been talked to about that. One time they had a bunch of building materials and stuff there, but that's not on our land to begin, not ours. Farmer You're not gonna put it out in the middle of his green field. They have been talked to, so I. Personally, I.
You know, there's much you can do through any of our bylaws. So it's an agricultural land, stockpiling of brush is common practice agriculturally. So there's probably very little we can force them to clean it up if we wanted to.
Now, my understanding, and I don't know all the details because I was not involved, but. They were talked to, and apparently. There's a brush pile across the road too at the time. Fire department was going to be out there with them. And, you know, to clean it up, to burn it, and then something happened that. It didn't get done at that time. I wasn't involved. It was, I think Mario was the chair at that time and. Unless it gets to be a bunch of garbage and. Personally, I just leave it alone for now. You're out there now, you know, you wouldn't know there's a brush pile. I've been out, it's all grown over.
Going over. Yeah.
And raspberries. and-
Yeah.
So. This has been on this particular cemetery for quite some time. It isn't just since this new committee, so. My recommendation for now is take that off also. And if we have a big problem in the future. Start burning houses and stuff back in there, then you know, maybe. Fire department will deal with that. So is that okay? We'll get that off there and. Don't have to talk about it every time.
Second the motion.
Totally.
66 Kamalaki Road Cemetery in good overall condition. Restained cemetery sign, trim low hanging branches on trees and overgrown vegetation. Continue to clean vegetation under trees. Remove twigs and branches. Well, I think that's. I don't know if they did restain the sign. They might have.
I don't think the sign's been restained yet, but the vegetation below the trees have been cut back already.
Okay.
There's a little bit of work to be done along the back fences. You know, the stuff that's starting to grow out into the cemetery, but. I think it's at a time.
450 Isabella Street, grass was long in between graves. I used to come from there and I looked specifically for that and they're trimmed up good. Every stone. There's a lot of stones there.
Did a good job.
It's, yeah. I don't know, it was just a great job and at the time it was identified that. When it was getting better, our guys were actually doing it on a temporary basis, remember, because switch between contractors. Excellent shape over it. And I looked at all the flowers on top of the stones, because we had a past member individual say, hey, these aren't picking up the old flowers and stuff, and he used an example. Adrian, were you there when he
Yep.
talked about that?
Yep,
There was some old flowers sitting on one stone there for months on end.
right.
I didn't see it. I looked today.
But the fact remains, he noticed a distinct difference. Well, it's Morris Ma, who was a member till recently. And a keen guy and keeping the place looking good. And he noticed, he says, what's changed? He says, the place don't look as good as it did. And I says, but it could be the fact that we're not doing the monthlies like previously. One person would be assigned to check once or twice in their month for dead flowers and stuff like that and throw them in the garbage bucket. But we stopped doing that and I think Morris noticed it, so I think we should talk about that and discuss it and see whether we need to do it again or what, right? What do you think?
Yeah, can we move that to new business?
Sure,
We'll have-
absolutely,
we'll
yep.
Have the minutes specific on
All
that
right.
item.
Sounds
I
good?
had her on my list here because.
Okay,
that's
sorry.
what Morris.
Yeah,
told, So,
got it.
okay, we will talk about that. Okay, yeah, anyways, grass is in good shape. I'll be honest, I didn't see any dead flowers and I looked real careful to find. You know, a lot
I
of-
went through there too before I come here and I agree, it looked good.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't see anything. I didn't get out of the vehicle, but it looked all right to me.
Yeah, I know
Other than those missing trees by the columbarium, that's very noticeable to me.
Yeah, we need some more trees there too.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, those vandalized trees.
Yeah, we didn't replace them.
haven't been replaced, and I think it's noticeably takes away from the columbarium.
Yeah.
Site. Negatively.
We don't plant trees in the fall, do we, Adam? It's in the spring? We do in
Well,
the
it's not
fall.
as good as spring, but it still works.
I don't know, we have to look in the budget. We got anything for trees in the budget?
Don't know off the top of my head, but I can look into that and see where we're at.
That, you're right, they should be.
Yeah, we need to fix that up. Why it was ever done, I don't know, but that's a odd situation.
Why would they cut them off?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, moving on down 6.1 accounts payable. They have a chance to look at where we've been spending our money. Yep,
2 trees.
yeah, they have, or at least. The two dead trees in the main cemetery.
Oh, yeah, all three are gone.
Over there,
Shared boundary.
and you trim trees along the road too. Yep, not even on the dead, ones, but on the others, they're trimmed. Especially. Careful. Yeah, because they were pretty dangerous looking things. Okay, accounts payable. Any comments on that? We don't have that big of a budget, so. No, just a question, Ella. We went to this new contractor with more money than what we had originally budgeted, correct?
Grass cutting?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what did we do about that? About paying for that, Adam?
I believe it was decided that you would carry on as per normal, and then if the budget as a whole was in deficit at year end, reserves would be used to cover the deficit. Usually what happens if the committees run a deficit, but the general budget does not, since it's all tax dollars, at the year end, it's not looked at as individual departments, it's more looked at in the town as a whole. Mind you, if the town as a whole is in the deficit, then each department will have to pay their portion of that deficit.
Okay, so that's something at the end of the year. Any other questions on? I have one here on timber topsoil. I asked this question before. All the topsoil we got over there. Why are we playing topsoil?
That topsoil that is there, topsoil is not really topsoil, that's. Dig out dirt with granulars in it that has never been able to catch the grass catch. We tried it numerous times. And then I was constantly getting concerns that the grass wasn't growing. So I just decided to take it upon myself, start bringing in some good topsoil. Do it once. So we're bringing a load from Kemper just to top off after everything's all settled.
Any other questions on that?
It's easier to spread too than the other stuff. They were spreading the day the kids came out and pick up and nice, works better.
Yep, okay.
What's Wendy the note? What is that?
What's that, Pam?
Wendy the note? Sale of internal, right?
Oh, yeah, Vigneal.
What is that?
She's the wife of the next or an employee that passed away a number of years ago. And
Yeah, that's a charge, is that correct?
Correct, yeah, so they had previously purchased the right, but our bylaw does allow the town to purchase back the right so long as it wasn't exercised. And that grave had not been utilized, so the town did purchase it back. At a discounted rate, they don't get their full money back, we keep the perpetual care.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. They just have one there, just one.
Correct, yeah, just one cremation grave.
Southern Comfort, isn't that?
their grass cutter.
Oh, I that.
That's how they
Stuff we
pour,
used to put in our coffee.
they pour that on the grass because then it comes up half cut. It's a money saving thing.
Which half though?
On those lines, that not necessarily the opinion of the committee. Okay, anything else on there?
To share while we're talking about the grass cutter, I was actually out at the cemetery on Tuesday to sell a plot and they were there cutting, so I had asked if they would just move to a different section while I was selling the plot, so we could have a nice quiet place to speak, and they were kind enough to completely stop cutting and wait until we had finished selling the plot, and then they resumed, so I thought that was very nice and respectful.
Special.
Yeah,
Very good.
good to hear those.
Yeah.
Hey, on the motions here. Moved by Albert, second by Adrian, that the Wyoming Public and Inactive Cemetery Committee receives and approves the payables for January to June 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Gary, thank you. Okay, moving on, there's no staff reports all at this time. No new bylaws at this time. I don't have any correspondence, new business. Hey, Adrian, you're gonna be first up with this, clean up at the cemetery,
Yeah, okay, so at the Decoration Day event, Morris Ma was there and he come up, he says, has something changed? He was on this committee, this board last year. And noticed that it wasn't quite as what he expected the last time he was in the cemetery. Says, well, as a matter of fact, something has changed. No longer going on a monthly basis and, you know, getting a direct view from one of the committee members and at the same time cleaning up the dead flowers and stuff like that. So I says that could be the difference. I don't know for sure. So I asked Bob, he come over and we had a chat with Morris, and so whether that is the difference for sure, I'm not positive of, but it could make a difference. And I believe personally that was a good thing for our committee members to go to the cemetery once a month and check it out, because you'd see things that you wouldn't normally see. And at the same time, make it a little more spick and span than normal. It's easier for us to do that type of thing than I think an employee of the town, because they would be, I'm sure, a little bit, can I take this or not? Is it too early to take it? You know, that type of thing. But with us, it's a little bit easier. We can, you know, that type of thing. So I'm thinking we should reconsider that change. It's not like a high risk type of a thing to walk through a cemetery and clean up a few old bunches of flowers and throw them in the dumpster or that type of thing, you know. So that's just my thought, and I'm just following up on Morris Ma's comments, and Morris obviously seen something that was different than when he was on the committee, and maybe that's the reason, maybe not, but it can't hurt to reconsider it, I don't think.
I'm gonna ask Adam to comment. We've dealt with this before, and
There's no official policy on it. I think what the initial intent was to discourage the committee from performing work that would be considered construction, grounds maintenance, stuff like that. Once you get into that kind of work, you have certain safety procedures, regulations, etc. I think if, like the special events committee, if you're just on town property and helping facilitate something, that's not necessarily a problem. So if you're just walking through the park and grabbing dead flowers and putting them in the garbage can, likely that's not a huge issue with our insurance or anything else. Meeting pays could be a challenge if it depends on what the committee wants. If you're doing it on a volunteer basis, then there is no concern. Meeting pay wise, if you as a group decided to get a meeting pay for that, of course, that would strain your budget. So but physically, I don't necessarily see any major objection as long as you're not performing anything that could be considered grounds maintenance or construction activities.
well, yeah, just got into a discussion back when Adam was involved, but so was the previous CAO, and I was certainly approached on it and the past chair about legalities and insurance and what Adam just said. If we do this on a voluntary basis, but I don't think anybody here ever put in for any pay for
No,
doing
that's
that.
not the intent, no.
So it's just on a voluntary basis, and which we did before, rotating basis. No different than what I just did today. I went over there. You know, just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything laying there that shouldn't have been, and that's what all you would do. It's all, you know, it's not all the inactive, it's basically we're talking about the main one, although I do tour the inactive ones too, you know, I'm out that way, I always stop and take a look, and if something needs to be picked up, I just throw it in the back of my truck and take it over to the bucket.
And it's exactly the same type of thing they would do on, say, the Howard Watson Nature Trail or adopt the road, adopt the highway, all those kinds of same type of thing exactly. You're not. You do a little more than just doing some
Yeah.
light cleanup, yeah.
Well, you know, Adrian, personally, I think it's a good idea, and you know, for the year's schedule, we could link John Knox into this too. They just love to go over there and clean up, which they did this year again, and we appreciate it. So, you know, we could, like early in the spring is probably the worst, you know, like John Knox could be put in there in May or whatever. And then we could each take a month. And not a big deal, believe me, you're only, what, half an hour at the most. You know, the big windstorm, that's, yeah, go ahead, Ed.
If you're gonna work with John Knox to regularly schedule something, I would suggest mid-April to late April at latest. Because we usually start cutting grass towards the end of April, so you'd want them in and gone in April, that way all sticks and debris is picked up before we start cutting grass.
And that's probably, they would like that out there, like the schedule.
Yeah, they loved it.
So why don't we do that? Alec can make up a 12-month list. I mean, not much to do in the winter. And if say you get a big windstorm or something, that's a whole different situation. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about taking dead flowers and putting them in the bucket.
Are we talking dead flowers on saddles?
That too,
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that's,
looks too far past its
Yeah.
prime.
Right, so you take it off and you put it over by the garage.
No, dump it in the dumpster.
Garbage can.
they call them burying, there's a.
There was one year where, I don't know, there was all kinds of stuff there. There was all kinds of stuff like hooks and
Oh, that's different, yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. We did
I don't know who did that.
we all did that.
Yeah.
There was
So they were taking stuff from grave sites that apparently were not supposed to be. They didn't.
Non-compliance with the bylaws.
Right, okay.
and put it there.
I witnessed this. A woman from Petrolia came and scooped it all up and sold it in the garage sale
Through where?
car.
Oh, she took it.
Oh. Because it was supposed to be put there for a period of time, then if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for people to come and
Yeah,
make
take it.
their own, right?
Some of it was moved over to
I
the.
witnessed it. Yeah.
Anyways,
I hate to see that happen again, because I know not everyone is local to visit their grave sites. I mean, I'm there weekly. I see things and I know which one Morris Ma was upset about because I was upset about it myself. I wanted to go take it off,
yeah,
but I was afraid to. I didn't know if I could, and finally it has been now replaced. But yeah, like I agree that things did look a little shabby there for a while, but I think it needs to be done maybe twice a year, like so at the end of winter. People should be bringing a spring, summer one, and then again, the spring, summer one should come out and then winter one. Like I think twice a year is lots to replace people's saddles, if that's what we're gonna be doing. In old, arrangements, but that's just my opinion.
it's just sticks, twigs. Nothing to do with the stones, or don't touch that's their responsibility, but.
If they have fresh dead
Fresh
stuff.
flowers that have, like if there's a
Done.
grave and there's been
Yeah.
a burial and then fresh flowers are there after a month or 3 weeks or whatever.
That needs to be
They
picked up.
need to be moved off of there.
I'll volunteer to do some of that, because I live here in town anyways, and better to do some days.
Well, here's my suggestion. We've got town employees going through there once a month or a couple of times. I'd like to see that continue. 'Cause they'll might pick up the bigger sticks and that, and they'll take a drive through. We'll put us on a list like we used to, a volunteer list, no volunteering. And with John Knox, they could get an advanced schedule for that month. And move ahead with it. And I think Adam's saying as long as you're volunteering and not paid meetings and committee meetings and whatever.
As long as you're not performing grounds maintenance or construction activities, you're likely all right.
And are you okay, Adam? We'll just continue with what our public work guys are doing. They can do their drive-through and
Yes, sir.
we get charged a little bit for that, whatever.
They're due, the list of work to do takes us through the whole summer anyways. In between that and burials, we're there on a fairly regular basis.
Sound good?
Sounds like it's good, yeah.
So Ella, if you can make a list for the rest of the year, and then next year we'll just each one of us will take a month and once or twice. Okay, sounds good. Any other new business? John, do you have any new business?
Oh, sir.
Albert? Pam? Sure. Adrian, you got any other new business?
No, we've talked about everything that I had marked down here.
I do. Adam, do you have any? Ellen, anything you want to raise? I don't have anything else. We don't have any closed meetings, so. We'll move forward. Yeah, moved by Adrian Verwegen, second by Albert. Wyoming Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee adjourns until next scheduled meeting, September the 7th. No meeting in August, September the 7th, 2023 at 2 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you.